Oh man. Okay. So tell me now. How did Richie Cunningham? No. How did what's his name? Not Richie Cunningham.
Henry Winkler?
No. Oh, you talk about how Henry Winkler got the job as the Fonz?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me how he got the role as the Fonz.
Well, I mean, I'm not reading anything that wasn't on CNN. When I read it, it was just...
I don't know the story.
Yeah.
No, he completely changed his... God, now I'm forgetting it, but he never did any of that type of acting and went in with a completely like goofball, like AU,
Right.
and thought he was going to get the role, and that's exactly what they were looking for.
You know what's funny? Because you're right. In real life, the first time I saw the Fonz outside of his character, I was like,
You can say fuck.
who is this guy?
I know, because he's really small.
We're allowed to swear? Okay.
And he's nothing like that at all. He's not cool at all.
No,
he's
not
a
at all.
fucking nerd, dude. He's a total nerd.
And what I was reading, it was like kind of like a existential like role for him that he could be like someone else. People don't know this. He was really good friends, and probably still is, with Sylvester Stallone. They did a movie called Lords of
Flatbush.
Yeah,
That was really good.
And they were pretty close, and it was.
I thought you were going to say the Italian Stallion.
Well, that was a different film that he was in, that we know about.
Not the Fonz.
It'd be a good name though.
Hold on a second. Is it true that was? I mean, have you seen this porno?
Yeah, it's not like it's like a double X.
Yeah,
It's not like a true like crazy like.
So it's like a softcore like Skinamax.
They show like
his wiener.
I think so. Yeah.
I haven't seen the video, but I've seen like maybe 15 seconds. It looks. It's not. I don't think it's hardcore, but
no, it's not hardcore for sure.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so that's funny. I thought you were going to say 15 inches. I was going to say, Jesus, Sylvester Stallone, he made all that money. He's a good-looking guy,
Italian stallion.
and he's got a 15-inch dick. We're not saying that, though.
No,
We're not. Okay. I don't know.
I'm not. Ted,
I've heard
Ted, what do you
this
say?
is like, oh, man, that's so sad. It's like a urban myth that he was in this movie, right? Like he
he's
was in
in
a
it.
porn.
No, it's definitely
He's
it's
in
a
it.
movie. Yeah,
He
you
is
can
in
look
it.
it up on Google. You'll see.
Yeah.
You can Google a porn.
No, it's just
Oh,
called The Italian Stallion. That's the name of the movie. He was in it.
And by the way,
He doesn't hide from that either.
I don't think it was ever called the Italian Stallion. They renamed it later
they did?
on. Yeah, he was a no one when he did it. He was.
No, you're right because that would have came Rocky as the
right.
Okay,
They renamed it.
Yeah, they wouldn't have named him in Rocky. He wouldn't have named himself in Rocky after that movie. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay,
I mean, the guy gave up his
Yeah.
dog for rent money like 4 months before he sold the script to Rocky. He was like poor as hell.
See, now that I actually believe, but I don't believe this. I mean, somebody, you know what? I'll tell you what. For anybody who's listening to this show, send the link out to us on social media. I want to actually see some sort of proof that there was this porno because I've heard a lot about it, but nobody's ever said they've seen any part of it.
Well, when you get online,
I just watch regular porn. I'm not going to watch. I mean, I don't go in for like special like Italian porn. I really don't care what nationality.
You're not into like the retro like 70s like stuff like that.
the
It
70s.
probably was the 60s. How old he was at that time. But.
Oh man, that is so weird to me. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's cool. Listen, if it's out there, somebody please send it to me. Okay, and I'm asking you to send me a porno of a guy.
the VHS tape. You want a tape?
You know what? If somebody has that, absolutely send me that VHS tape.
And when
that
you're
would
done
be,
with it, be kind, rewind.
That would be absolutely fantastic. I would love every
See
second
how he
of
got that in, Matt?
Be kind,
just
rewind.
ignore me.
That's not a thing. He's trying. So
It
Jack,
is. I looked it up after you and I texted.
No,
today.
he's trying to
I
work
looked it up.
back in.
Actually, there's a movie.
Okay, yeah, but
And there's a whole "Be Kind, Please Rewind" thing.
isn't it about the end of Blockbuster or something? The movie?
Sort of, yeah. Jack Black's in it. It's actually good. I saw it a bunch of years ago.
Oh, okay, but that's not a thing. You're not bringing that back.
It's a phrase. It's a deep phrase, man.
It's not.
got
No,
some
it's not
meaning
deep to
it.
anybody.
Okay,
It was just something people said, and they
right.
charged you $2 for.
All right.
Yeah, I used to work at a Blockbuster. I know how that shit worked.
Sure you did.
I did.
I got fired as a kid from a place called West Coast Video. don't
I
if
know
you
West
know
Coast
that.
Video.
Oh,
Yeah,
hell yeah, I
Oh,
know
yeah,
West
yeah.
Coast Video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah, I know West Coast
Yeah, I
Video
was
for
like
sure.
16, 17 years old.
They had that big separate porn room
Yep.
at
Well,
West Coast.
that's kind of why I got fired. I was a kid and I was bored and was very bored of my job. And I remember when I was working there, they always would say, say the name of the movie and when is it due back. So,
Oh my
Rocky 2 is due back on Tuesday by 5:00.
Nice.
and I hated the person I was working with. I think it was my boss or manager at the time, and there was a room with beads, like
Right.
it was so bad, and the guys would walk in with their heads down, not trying to be noticed, if you want to say that,
Right.
and they would come out and they'd be in the same line with Jenny Smith and her daughter, who are renting Bambi, and this guy's got a VHS, not a DVD at the time.
He's got the empty box of the porn.
Exactly, of an adult movie, and for what and giggles, I would say that's due back at 5:00 on next Tuesday, and I said the title out loud, and
Born to Bone 5, the anal intrusion.
So if somebody was in line, you normally wouldn't do that to them.
I
right?
didn't do it all the time. I did it a couple times as a joke, and they're
Right.
like, "You're out of here, kid."
Wow, they fired you for that?
Yeah, amongst other things. I wasn't on time.
Come on,
and stuff like
hold on.
that.
I know I got fired from my block. I don't remember what I did, but it was the same kind of thing. It was just being a total asshole, right? At
Being
some
a kid.
point, yeah,
Being a
yeah.
kid.
At some point, you're just like, hey man, you have to take that home before you start doing that, sir. Yeah, no, you can't do that here. You cannot do that here.
Well, I thank God I never encountered anything like that. I would have called the police immediately, but it was.
No, you would. Come on, you would have had so much fun. Listen,
Are you kidding me? If
Blockbuster
someone-
did not have a porn room.
No,
If someone
that sucked.
exposed
That's what
themselves at West Coast Video, you're
would
damn
be-
right I would have called the cops. They'd be like, "You got to put that away, man." Or
dude, come on. You know what? I
would've
at
laughed.
Least, I would at least waited a couple minutes so that the story got better. Yeah, I would have had to.
I'm sure I would have. I mean, I'm trying to put myself in my shoes at like 16, 17 years
Right.
old. Like,
Right, like right now you'd be like, sir, that's completely inappropriate. Before you'd be like, dude, go outside on the sidewalk and do that, man. That's gross.
no cell phone at the time. I couldn't
Right,
call
no
all my
pic, yeah.
friends or anything
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
I mean that's the funny part, right? I mean, you had to go. That's what was so horrible, right? You had to get a magazine sent to you in the mail, or you had to go as some asshole kid at West Coast Video and be afraid that you're going to say that he's going to say, sir, Rump Ranger 7, the search for Spock's asshole is due back on Wednesday.
You enjoy.
Yeah. Now you can just get on your porn machine. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about. Oh man, I'll tell you what.
Times
That's
are
what
different.
that's what Matt calls his telephone. His cell phone is a porn machine.
Oh, okay. Well, that
Well, what do you? I mean, you call it what it is. I mean, if you make phone calls all the time, it's a phone,
Right.
right?
I just call it the machine because it, what I'm holding in my hands has more power than what landed on the moon. So
crazy.
So
I was, you know what? I was funny. I was just watching something where this woman was trying to convince people that the moon landing was fake.
Oh, right.
Oh man, it was so crazy. I couldn't
Wait,
help
what's
it.
crazy?
No, we're not playing that game. All right, so let's get this thing started. 'Cause this is gonna be a weird day for everybody, man.
wow.
It really is.
It
All
is-
right,
Ted hasn't said a thing.
it hasn't said a word yet.
I hope I can answer these questions.
Oh no! You know what? You don't want to know the questions, and I don't want to know the answers. Is really what the deal is. All right, hey everybody, my name is Matt, and this is the Real Three Idiots podcast. With me, as always, is a man who knows the difference now between yarn and twine. Mark,
Hey,
stop it! Stop doing that. I hate when
that's
you
it.
do that.
Hey,
Yeah, and I can't believe I'm saying this. We are without Ted today. What about Mark? About
we're
half
Tedless.
hour?
Yeah.
About a half hour ago, 20 minutes ago. So I get a text, and Ted says, I can't make it. I have COVID, and it's a whole elaborate thing, right? And it's on there. He says I took a test, and I got COVID, and I tried to convince Mark that Ted for sure accidentally took a pregnancy test and not a COVID test.
Right.
Yeah, and something really bad is happening to him.
Is it blue, Ted?
No, isn't it a plus and a minus?
I thought it was
Like-
Oh, they don't do pink and blue anymore. I don't know.
No, you can't. I mean, wait, but why pink and blue? It's boy and girl. I mean, you're either pregnant or you're not, right?
Yeah,
Well,
it's just a line.
It was blue and or was it? I don't know. I never.
Yeah.
Took
Plus,
I haven't
like,
taken
there's
one.
another person coming into your life. Minus, you get to have more fun
I'm
sex.
thinking of the announcements when they blow up the blue and the pink shit.
Oh, you mean the people that like start a fire?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
burn down
Or
half of
kill-
California.
Yeah, or
reveal, right? A reveal.
wasn't there
party, or-
a reveal that actually killed like 3 people?
Oh, there's one that started that big forest fire out in California.
Yeah,
or
that
in the
is-
West Coast.
No, that did happen.
Yeah, it did happen. Yeah,
You-
absolutely.
Wait, you're talking about Jewish space lasers? That's
No.
what Marjorie
No.
Taylor Greene. She texted me and she told
That's
me
going
that
to
it was
happen.
not.
It hasn't happened yet.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Well, I'm Jewish, and I've stopped building my lasers a couple months ago. So
Kanye's talking about it's going to happen.
Him and Kyrie. Yeah.
Ye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, I tell you what, when I heard that Kanye West, I heard that Kyrie Irving got kicked out of the NBA for a couple of days for whatever anti-Semitic thing, I didn't really pay attention to it. And then I think there's literally a person in the U.S. House of Representatives that has said way worse shit. Can't we just get rid of her too? I mean, isn't that possible?
It's the most insane thing that I've ever heard come out of any. I mean, all the shit that's been going on. When she said that,
yeah. Well,
Well, here's the thing. There's, in my opinion, Congress or politics is the ultimate theater. So, is she acting? Is she half in the bag? What I don't think they're all as dumb as you think, but I don't think they're as smart as you think. It's theater. It's clicks. It's watches. Yeah. It's posts. It's completely. I mean, listen, Strom Thurmond was a congressman till he was like 94 years old or something like that. That would never happen in today's day and age. Right. So things have evolved. You might say technology has ruined a lot of things, but the misinformation and everything that's out there, people are going to say what they're going to say, and it doesn't matter what they say. It matters what they believe in, and that's how people vote, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because you know what, we're trying. I've been working for the last 2 weeks to try to get somebody, a conspiracy theory guy, on. And it looks like it's going to be a good chance to do this. And he's real.
When you say conspiracy theory guy, do you mean somebody who makes
studies.
them up, or somebody
somebody who studies.
Okay.
Somebody who studies conspiracy theories. Yeah, I've been talking to this guy from England, a PhD student. I talked to his I don't know, his boss, his teacher, his professor,
Fellow.
whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
And so he says, yeah, he's the guy. And I've been kind of listening to some of the stuff, and man, there's things that I completely forgot about.
Oh, it's interesting stuff. I listened to a podcast about it, and it was more about how people. There's groups of people that just make this shit up.
Yeah.
And then it sticks, and then it gets his own life, and it's like, great.
Yeah.
And you go back and everybody believes it, but then you go back and the guy's like, no, I just made that up.
Yeah, it goes back to what I was saying about clicks and everything. I just want to say something about, like, if we're talking about conspiracies, like the moon. You know how many people would have to keep that? I mean, hundreds of thousands of people.
Jack, I that's my biggest response to all these things that are going on for 50, 60 years. I'm like, somebody would have blew it already.
You can't keep that a secret. Like no. We're human beings. I want to tell as soon as I get out of here about what I did today. Like, I can't. Like the billions of dollars in people that died. There's a lot of good liars if that is a conspiracy theory, because now. There's things you can read where things like were not disclosed, like what they potentially saw or did not see out there. But no, the world is not flat. Kyrie, Kyrie believes the world is flat too. He's a flat earther.
No. I think a couple of years ago he finally said that he didn't think.
Oh, he did?
Flat. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he finally said he didn't think it was flat. He says more oval shaped. That was
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
he went with
look up the definition of a horizon, and you can kind of get past that. But it's like I said, it's whatever draws you to your product or your theme that you're doing. You will say anything.
You're right. Or in politics, your base.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, that's so scary. Okay, and that voice you hear is our very, very special guest from PFS Wealth Management in Park Ridge, and that's just outside of Chicago. That is our money man. That's what we're calling you, Money Man.
Oh, great.
Not better than Money Shot. Jack Burke. Jack, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome, Jack.
Thank you for having me.
So this is pretty exciting.
You're not our third idiot, by the way. You're our guest.
I was wondering
We're
if that was
two
like
idiots.
a ploy, like he doesn't really exist.
Yeah, he doesn't exist.
I'm the third idiot.
No. We had Teddy and I were interviewing Mac Maloney, the UFO guy, and towards the end he's like, "Oh, am I the third idiot?" And I freaked out. I was just like, "No, not at all." He goes, "Oh no," he goes, "It'd be kind of cool," and I was like.
He did. He waited the whole show because it was just
he waited the
Matt
whole show to ask.
And Ted, and then the guest, and I'm sure he was wondering the whole show. He's like, "Where's the third idiot? Wait a minute, I'm the third idiot."
Wow.
And at the end, he asked you that, and you're like,
"Yeah."
No.
And I thought he was going to be offended, and I'm like,
"No, he wanted." He was like,
yeah.
he wanted that title. I was like, "No,
like,
that's what I would think that's like endearment. Like you are the third idiot.
Yeah. Jack, you are more than welcome to call yourself the third idiot.
Well, I've been called worse. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can say that wouldn't. Let's see. There's nothing you could say that Ted would say. Is that what I'm thinking? There's nothing Ted wouldn't say
that's
that
something that Ted would say right there. I mean, that was perfect.
Eat
That's
shit.
a Tedism.
Okay. If after you are done listening to this, you want to get in touch with Jack, you can do it at psfwm.com. That's PFS Wealth Management. You can find out more about him and his company and all the stuff he does. So, Jack, let's do this.
Sure.
How long have you been making people billionaires? Is it billionaires or trillionaires? What would you like to be?
Let's start slow. Let's start with millionaires first, and then work our way up to billionaires and trillionaires. But
Okay, and I will say before you get started, I will say I am a thousandaire and
You're a
have been
thousandaire?
for several years.
Okay.
Yes, I have over thousands of dollars.
that's
He's an overachiever.
Yes, I'm an underachiever with thousands of dollars.
you have outkicked your coverage, my friend.
Oh man! Listen, from when I'm pretty sure my old man when I had like two dimes to rub together went. All right, that's the best. That's the best you're gonna get, man. Good job.
You know who is rich? The guys that own Howard Street Inn because of Matt.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yes, as an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not just me.
Ted, too.
There's like 5 other guys that are in there all the time when I'm in there.
I'm sorry, I got distracted by December 13th sex toys that is up on the wall. It kind of moved this into another area. But you were asking me how long have I been doing this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and not sex toys.
I thought you were going to talk about the spelling of Sarah's name.
That's how she spells her
I
name.
understand that.
Shira. Shira. So how long have I been doing this? So I graduated from the University of Florida
Sorry to hear
in
that.
2004.
You know who did that? You know who did this to me on Sunday?
Who?
AB, Alex Brown.
Alex Brown, fellow
He
Gator.
was at the Bears game, and he walked by, and I said, we have good seats. So he's walking right by us. I'm like, AB. And he looks at me, and he does the Gator clap. And my buddy Matt goes, he looked right at you. He goes, he must fucking think I'm from Florida or
Yeah,
something.
right.
I mean, he gave me the
You
clap.
kind of look like a hillbilly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gainesville.
Gainesville.
Okay, can we let Jack tell us how
University of Florida.
There's probably I would figure most of the people listening to our show are either poor or on their way to being poor, and
Can
they
we let
need
Jack
help.
finish, please, Ted? I mean, Matt, I'm sorry.
All right, Jack. So how long you been doing this?
So 18 years, right out of school. I got recruited by American Express at the time, and I'm from the Chicagoland area. I grew up in Schaumburg, but my parents retired down to Florida, which is why I went to school down there. And
Where'd you go to high school?
Schaumburg.
Okay.
I went to Schaumburg High.
Nice.
Living in Florida, as you guys have probably been there, it's a transient state. No one's really from Florida. South, it's from the East Coast.
East Coast, yeah, big.
As you go up in the state, it becomes a little different. But I knew I wanted to work back up here with people from the Midwest. I'm a Midwest guy. Never been told I have an accent in my life until I went away to school. They're like, "Where are you?" They're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like,
You're from over there.
yeah, well, they're like, your accent is obnoxious, and I've never heard that before. But so I came back up here, had a string of terrible interviews with other companies, sell pencils, door to door, like just door to door sales and whatnot. And it's like, wow, I went to college to do this, and I was actually going to head back down to the Boca area and look for some more work when I got contacted by the office up here. And sat down for the group interview and decided that this is something I probably wouldn't be good at, so maybe I should try it because I don't have a family at that time, and I was living in my aunt's 4th bedroom, not her basement.
Oh yeah, so that's the time when
That's
you
to
can
take the risk,
Yeah,
man.
that's when you
Hell
can do
yeah.
anything, right?
That's why
Yeah,
I did it.
That makes sense.
I couldn't do it.
Perfect,
I couldn't
yeah.
do it now, and I worked harder doing that than any other job that I've ever had
For American Express.
For American Express, which then turned into Ameriprise 2 years later. And then I left in 2008 to help start a firm.
Who started Ameriprise? That's somebody famous, right? Is that
Well, Jim Cracciola is the CEO, and I think was the CEO, and I think still is the CEO. American Express had just a financial advisors division that they spun off to Ameriprise. It was the same thing.
okay?
And I was there during the name change. We didn't like the name; it sounded like Enterprise Car Rental or like some space.
Sure,
That's
yeah.
what I honestly thought. That's what I honestly thought. American
See,
Express
you can't even
and
say it.
Enterprise Car Rental, so you can rent, you can get a car and you can invest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this. This is a dumb question.
Okay.
So if you're working for American Express,
Sure.
and you're a financial guy,
Mm-hmm.
are you helping people at that point, or are you just helping the company make money?
So if I help people, that helps the company make money because they take a piece of everything.
Right. But so if I have money to invest, I'd call American Express.
So back then, American Express card members
Yeah.
would check a box off on the internet at that time, and we would get there would be leads. So I would get the Glenn Glary, Glenn Ross like leads of, let's say, 50 American Express card holders who requested information on the website. So when I would call up, I would say, hey, this is Jack Berg from American Express Financial Advisors. You requested some information, and then from there it was like hit or miss of where we were going to go. So, when I first started in 2004, we had a dialer. I don't know if you guys know what a dialer is. Just dials numbers for you.
It's like random numbers.
Well, the numbers that are set up, so it would keep on dialing for you. And I had a headset on. I had my manager who was like standing above me, telling me like what to say. My whole point was to get someone to come in for a meeting. And when I say come in,
these were all local calls then.
Around the Rosemont area.
Yeah, okay.
So when you came to my office a couple months ago, I was joking with you. I'm like, I'm not coming down to your basement like this is Pulp Fiction, and I'm going to be like with with a gimp ball in my mouth. Like
this is absolutely true. You want to hear something crazy?
Oh, I said, yeah.
So he says this is what he says to me. He goes, oh, if I do this, he goes, when I go on calls to people's houses, I tell people where I am, and they know where I am, and I'm just like, what an elaborate scheme that would be to murder you. To have you come to set up this whole thing for a podcast.
Have you met people? Like there's some messed up people out there. Like I told you that I've probably been I'm skipping around, but I became a manager, which then means I had to cover appointments for my advisors. All of our meetings were out of the office because that's the best way to see someone, because people will blow you off. You know how many homes I've been to in the Chicagoland area? I mean,
I could never do that. That's hard.
Strangers' homes that I've been in. I've definitely been in some crazy person's house that I know was crazy. Definitely. If you look at the pure,
you are right now.
Well, I mean, really crazy. Like if you look at that's why you sat me over here. If you look at the pure numbers, absolutely, you need to know where you are, and if you have a significant other at that time, or your girlfriend or boyfriend, you're going into people's homes. I've been dark house. Do you know what dark house is?
No, I have no idea.
So dark house is when I came here today, and then all of a sudden the lights shut off when I ring the doorbell, and you don't answer the door. Except that I've driven 45 minutes in traffic in my shitty Honda Civic at that time to talk to you because you have $5,000 to your name to do financial planning, and when I get there, you don't answer the door.
So they changed their mind.
The last moment.
Wow,
that's what they're.
But I mean, that's part of sales, though, right? I mean, part of sales. I've done it. I've been, I did sales when I got out of college. When I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do before I decided to go into the ultra lucrative teaching. I mean, that's why it's funny when I went to go see Jack. I'm like, Jack, come on and talk about money, and he's like, you're a teacher, you don't need money, you're probably rich. And I was like, yes, I am. You'll be helping out our listeners.
I'm not a $3.99 guy. I'm a teacher.
Okay, so you go ahead and you kind of get this crappy job, right? And then you kind of move to, let's fast forward, you're where you are right now. How'd you end up? Park Ridge is a nice area.
Yeah.
You got a nice firm. I mean, it's a really nice deal you got there.
Yeah, you've been.
How do you end up there? So, that firm or that office was at another firm that we recruited over to the mothership.
So, like, if I was a real estate agent, I have to work at a realty group. So, Remax or Century 21. That dates me if I say Century 21, but I can't just be out on my own doing real estate unless I open up a business or have some licenses. So The mothership is Arte Wealth Management, where I helped establish the firm back in 2008 with some other people, and then I was just an advisor. I continued doing my advisory role, picking up. I've never been a guy who got a lot of clients throughout the year, but I would get a couple big clients here and there. And this person who owned the business prior to you met Ben, my partner, and I, taking it over, was ready to downsize and go into retirement or semi-retire. So my firm, Arte Wealth Management, recruited him over to the firm in 2020, and I started working there potentially as his replacement to take it over. Now he, has
it being like his client base, right?
Yeah, the practice.
Sure, make sure everyone's taken care of and move on.
Correct. Just for the record,
because you're dealing with people and people's money, so you don't just retire and leave them hanging. You got to find.
Well, it's not even people's money. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a financial psychiatrist.
I like that.
Which is, I go into more detail about it, but it's people's outside their health and their family. We're the third most important person, maybe the most important. Depends on people's priorities.
Right.
So this gentleman had this client group for over 25 years. So he wanted to make sure that the person who was going to eventually potentially take it over knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
So, I had experience in the industry of being an advisor for my clients. Then I was in management, so I was being an advisor. Then I was also managing other advisors' practices and growing them. I was working like 90 hours a week and miserable. But
that sounds like fun.
Yeah. But when he came over to our firm, there was no guarantee that I was going to take over that practice. I had to prove that I was worthy enough doing it, which I thought I could. So as we were joking around, the first week I started there, the world ended with COVID. And I'm sitting in a practice that I want to take over at some point, and now I can't meet any of the clients. So actually, when you think about it, good things happen out of chaos or volatility. Perseverance comes through. It's probably the best, not that COVID was a good thing, but from a business standpoint of what I was trying to do at the time, getting thrown in the fire for some chaos or adverse situations probably helped my cause, because we were meeting with people through like a web call meeting, so I could at least see their face. And
Absolute
like
worst.
That.
Absolute worst.
But it's better than not seeing them. Is
Right.
the point.
Right.
It's actually better than having to go to their house, though.
Well, as I said earlier, we have an older client base, so COVID. Not that you should take it, not that you would ever take it lightly, but even if you're older, it's more serious.
Sure, yeah.
So, we were very careful on how we met with people and how we talked to people. And my job was to be introduced to all of these clients over a period of time, which I was. And we got through it. I spent a full year working there. In January of 2021, him and I made an agreement that we would at least get engaged financially, meaning that we would at least start the process of negotiating me taking over the practice. He had one caveat, and that caveat was you need to bring in a partner. You already have a practice. This is a very big practice on top of it. You can't do this alone. And he was right. Person I contacted was someone who I worked with at American Express and Ameriprise Financial, for many years, just for a referral. Like, what advisors do you know? This is not a small thing to take over. And he's like, what about me? And you met him.
And Ben.
Yeah.
That was Ben.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was Ben.
Now, Ben's I tell you what, and that was the funniest thing. So when I went in to go talk to these guys, I had literally gone to and like so many different. I talked to, for every one guest we get, I talk to 20 people.
Yeah, you get thrown out a lot of places.
I get not necessarily thrown out, but asked to leave,
especially financial
in an aggressive
banks,
way. Yeah.
Jewel Osco.
Well, it's funny how many people say no to me immediately without ever thinking it through. But yeah, so I went in and I'm talking to these guys and I'm thinking, I want something small. Like I think I told you, I went to a couple of Edward Jones.
Yes.
Right. I have a friend of mine who was interested in being on because he's a good friend, and he just said I couldn't do it. And then I went
corporate thing with them, right?
Yeah, and there was a lot of that, right? So
fear of that,
right? And I'm just like, hey man, listen, I understand it completely, right? And anyway, you know what? Really, I don't want big corporations anyway.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to talk about money, I want the focus of this show to be talking to people doing their thing on a smaller level and actually helping people. And you can tell just by listening to you that it was important for you to be able to take care of people and do that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the thing, right? And I think, and I would tell you this, I've been to see my financial guy more than I've been to see my doctor in the last 10 years. So when you say health, I mean, fuck, I take care of my own health. I can kind of do that. I mean, you need help with money, right? I mean, shit, if you don't have money, then you ain't got health, right? Take a look at what America does. We don't let people have health insurance. We don't let people go to the doctor, and that's where it's at. But okay, so let's do this. People think the stock market is for rich people, right? That's what we think about. We think about Rockefeller and we think about all these people, right? No, I mean, it's real, right? I mean, how do you get say to people who don't know anything about the stock market? How would you get them to say, don't put your money in a bank, right? Because that's for suckers, right? Because the bank makes money then. How do you get them to invest and put their money away and make actual wealth? Because that's the real deal.
Yeah. Well, that phase of financial planning or being a financial advisor is not something that I do anymore. Most of our clients, if not all, are millionaires. But I didn't always start with clients that were at that level. And the one thing you said is a misnomer that I would bring up all the time. If you want to call it financial planning or for whatever you want to call it, it's really nothing to do with the stock market. It has to do with saving. I mean, if you don't save your money, there's nothing to put in the stock market or the bond market or the commodities market or whatever industry that you want to go into. So
podcast if you want to invest in a good podcast.
If you want to invest in a good podcast. So
about $1,400. Yeah.
So a lot of my clients now started out that way. They I would say 99.9% of them are self-made. They didn't come from old money. They're new money, meaning that they had above average jobs. They saved into their qualified plans at work, 401ks,
sure,
SEP IRAs, ESOPs back then, simple defined benefit plans, whatever you want to call it, 403Bs, 457Cs, all these different types of.
So they were taking advantage of what their employer had to offer.
Some of it, but when the one thing that I did take with a grain of salt working at American Express or Ameriprise at the time is that you got to teach people to pay themselves first before they pay their Discover bill or their gym membership or their podcast fees, whatever it costs. Because if they don't pay themselves first, there's nothing to invest. And a lot of times, starting off like that, you meet more people with debt than you do equity.
Okay, so that's my very first question. How killer in your, you've been doing this for so long, how killer is credit card debt, holding on, carrying over that, and carrying a giant credit card balance? How killer is that to, making money?
That's what the first thing that came to mind when you said American Express was reaching out to people to invest money. That's like an oxymoron. You got a credit card company. But at that time, American Express, you had to pay it off monthly. So those are people that are more responsible.
Yeah, I would say the ones who have an American Express card don't carry debt.
Right.
They have the availability of credit more than most people on American Express.
Okay, but forget them. Forget them. I mean, and again, this is one of those things because I don't want this to be a thing where people start thinking that the only person that can make money in the stock market is people who have all this money, right? Because I'll tell you this, I'm going to throw this out here. If you invested $100 in Netflix 15 years ago, you got $15,000 sitting in your pocket right now, right? If you invested $100 in Amazon in 1997, and I'm talking about your first job, you throw money in there, right? You have $134,000 sitting in your. I mean, that's nothing. I don't need to be a fucking genius to put $100 away, right, a month, or every $50 a month, and take that money and put it into some company. So when people carry credit card debt, I mean, that's got to be killer because they have nothing to invest.
So yes, and to go off to give you one aspect, my brother got gifted Procter & Gamble stock for his bar mitzvah in the early 1980s, and sold it to buy a car when he was going into college, and we did an analysis. If he didn't sell that stock and he kept it today, it'd be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you are absolutely right.
That is,
you are absolutely right on that. On that point, has brought that up. But outside of my brother, what do you do with debt? Well, I can tell you the first thing you're going to do with debt. So let's say that Matt is sitting down with me right now, and he's giving me his financial outlook, and he's got, $25,000 of cash or whatnot, but he's got $30,000
or $2,500 or $2,500.
$2,500. The first thing I'm going to tell you is, find a zero interest credit card to begin with, and we're gonna do a transfer over to there, and that's the first thing that we're gonna do. We're gonna get you out of this high APR. We're gonna roll your debt into something that has zero, and then we're going to forecast out the payments to this before that zero turns back into whatever the APR is going to be in 12, 16, 18, or 24 months, regardless.
Right.
And we're going to keep on flipping those until we get that paid off.
So you're taking something that's like to them is a debt that's never going to get paid off, and turn it into something that has an end date to it.
We have to, because otherwise I watch a lot of Family Guy, and
I love Family Guy.
and there's a random like episode where they're like in debt and he's like, we'll never pay. They were like looking at bills and like, we'll never pay it off, because most people outspend what their means are. So if you're a teacher, or if you're a librarian, or if you're a fireman, or if you're something like a municipality worker or something like that, you're making a set amount. You should have your advisor, if you don't, go through a budget with you to make sure you know what you're spending every month. Because my job when I first started, my goal was to find out what do they have left over of discretionary income. I don't care how much money you make. You make $50,000 a year?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take apart everything you pay for a month, extrapolate out that by 12, then take what you're doing, what you're making, extrapolate it by 12, and find $50 to $1,000 free at the end of each month. So then that's where we get paid, redirect it into different type of accounts and stuff for you to save.
So
And
first
what?
thing a guy,
you're worth every penny, because nobody can do that on their own. It's so hard.
No, they can. I disagree with you. They can. They don't want to. That's the problem.
But most people don't, right?
Correct.
So what you're doing is taking like revolving debt and turning it into like an installment loan.
Correct.
And that's it. And
not anymore, but when my
Well,
first 3 to 4 years, I would say yes.
but here, I'll give you a reason why. Because we send kids through school, all the way through school, and we don't teach them a goddamn thing about money. We teach them nothing. We teach them the Pythagorean theorem, which I cannot say, right? We teach them history. Thank you very much. We teach them history, right? We teach them a little bit of science. We teach them how to read, but then we never teach them the most important thing they can have is understanding how money works and debt. We just it just doesn't exist, and nobody wants to do it. And I hate to be that conspiracy guy, but I honestly believe that people don't want people to know that, because if they got out of debt, they wouldn't have the jobs that they do. They would be able to live. Because here, I'll tell you this: I taught kids when I was in school. I taught 3rd grade to 8th grade. I taught them about stock market. Okay, I taught 8th graders how the stock market worked. Okay, and I had parents coming to me and it's like, oh, I gave my son $50 for his birthday and he invested it. He didn't spend it. He invested it. And I got parents, oh yeah, I set up a thing and I told them how to do this and go to Ameritrade and go to Schwab and set this up, and they've got kid things and you can do all this stuff and let your kid invest and make money, right? Because I showed them, I'm not a genius or anything, but I kind of showed them how it works, right? And I told the kids this one thing: the stock market is what you make after you're done working, sitting on your butt doing nothing. I mean, that's that thing I tried to get them to say. You make money when other people work. I mean, is that kind of how it works?
Well, you're making money or losing money based on...
Oh, no. Just the making money part, not the losing money. I never taught them how to lose money.
Well, that's where I come in.
It's a gamble.
See, you can already tell like how I'm like preconditioned and how I speak.
Yeah.
There's no free lunch. So meaning
No,
that
there was. Most of the kids in my school had free lunch.
Okay. Well, if you're going to take risk, you have to also take the downside as well. When there's volatility, when there's chaos, that breeds opportunity. So people that have their 401ks that are down this year, or their IRAs or their trust accounts, whatnot, man, if you got cash sitting on the side, this is when you get in, because you're getting everything at a discount. I mean, the goal is to buy low, sell high, not sell high. Or excuse me, you want to buy low and sell high. You don't want to do you don't want to do the opposite way around. And a lot of times we have, we're human. I said before, I'm a financial psychiatrist. My job is to walk sometimes a client off of the ledge potentially and be like, listen, you can't sell this right now. Not every investment is going to go up. Not every investment is going to go down. There's going to be winners. There's going to be losers in your overall portfolio. I am here to stop you from the impulsive sell or the impulsive buy or whatever you read on the internet.
It's so it doesn't.
Whatever YouTube you saw, like it is. What I'm saying, I say this to clients all the time. my job is to make sure you have integrity on the upside and the downside. You got to have the mental fortitude to do that. Otherwise, don't invest your money.
Yeah.
So when somebody watches Jim Cramer Mad Money and they call you up, you talk them off that ledge because I mean that's
Matt, I'd be lying to you if I said that happens. A lot of that doesn't happen in my I don't get those phone calls. So, I mean, these are people that I'm working with have been investing maybe yeah. I mean, I've been doing this 18 years. They've been investing double the time that I've been doing this. So I just turned 42. Some of them have been investing as long as I've been alive. So they have more experience in the market per se. But my job is, you keep on talking about stocks or like whatnot. We do a lot more than just investing. Otherwise, that's a commodity. You can go onto Vanguard.com and make a pie chart and pick out your investments. What we do is really manage risk. And inside of managing risk, your returns are a byproduct of your risk. So if you're conservative, your byproduct of your risk will have a byproduct of a return that's going to be less volatile than what's happening right now because of the market. Those are things that we can never guarantee rate of return to clients. That is you never say that. You can't do any of that. What we can guarantee, though, is that you are the right risk tolerance, that you have the right concentration levels, that you have the right education so you know what you're doing. In fact, before we go into something, we're going to ask you all these questions so that when someone looks over that and what we're doing, there are no ands, ifs, or buts that you didn't know what was happening, that you weren't disclosed, that you were disclosed all of that. It's for your safety and our safety at the same time. And a lot of our clients that we work with are at the point where they don't need as much volatility as they did when they were younger. And our job is to make sure that we keep them on the same path. And if they want to change that path, I'm going to notate the hell out of the file to ask you questions on what's different. Why are you spending this now? Okay, you were spending just why. We're always asking questions. We're always probing because the more information we know about that person that's our client, we know where to put their money, so there's no surprise. There should be zero surprises when we have meetings.
So when a guy comes in and he tells you, I'm in a fantastic marriage. I do have a 20-year-old girlfriend. I'm going to need a little extra cash. I'm going to need to be more. I'm going to need to take some more risk. She doesn't shop. Listen, I'm not buying her gifts at Target. So when right away when a guy comes in and says, oh, I need some extra dough, you're just like, can you show me a picture of it? Yeah, right. I mean, that's
happens all the time. I beat those away 10 times a day. Outside of those instances where I'm not investing for my client's separate life, it's typically the married couple that comes in that knows what they want. And you're going to laugh at this.
I bet I don't.
You are. We got to tell people to spend their money. It's spend, because there's a reason why they're rich. They have money. They're savers. It's not because they've made so much money in the market. Yes, they've made money in the market through a lot of years, but because they're savers. That's how they got all the money.
Yeah.
So it's embedded in them. It's embedded in them that I got to save, I got to hoard, and then you throw in COVID, which is why. There's so much cash on the sidelines, even from February and March of 2020, that my partner and I got to tell people, spend. It's time.
Like, enjoy.
Yes,
go
you're
do
70,
something again.
You're 74. Go do something. Like, it's hard because we got to give, there's something called RMDs, requirement minimum distributions. When you're 72 years old, the government makes you take money out of an IRA.
Those bastards.
I know. You know why they're doing that? Because they haven't made their tax money yet. Because most money that goes in...
Yeah, they want their piece.
Correct. When you put money into a 401k, typically it's pre-taxed. It lowers your AGI, lowers your taxable income, and you get the money to go in there, and it grows tax deferred. So guess when you got to pay taxes? When you have to pull the money out. Now you can pull out before 72.
Or when you die.
Well, then that goes to your beneficiary, and that's another. Yeah. That's a separate thing. But the government used to be 70, and they changed it after COVID, or 70.5. At 72 years old, regardless of whether or not you want to, you have money in an IRA, you have to take it out. There's a calculation that we do, and you take it out. So let's say someone's got to take out.
Wait a minute. So wait, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Is that why I see all those 70-year-olds driving around in like $70,000 Cadillacs?
Well,
Because they have to buy that Cadillac.
Here's what we need to do. Jack, we need your help.
Sure.
You and I are going to go around, find these guys, and say, listen, You got to start spending this money, or
Invest-
give it to people. Just give it.
No,
Matt,
invest
we'll
in
get
the
Jack.
podcast.
That's what I'm talking
yes.
about. Yes, you
All
need
right.
to spend money.
All right, so Jack, forget 70-year-olds because I highly doubt we have many 70-year-old listeners. Okay, so let's just
You might after this one.
and by the way, if we do, I love you all. Okay, but let's start with kids. Okay, so
kids, okay.
so I've got a couple of kids, right? Out of college, first
Not
jobs.
kids anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're my children. I mean,
children. Yeah.
listen, I created them with my sperm. Okay, is that what you want to hear? Yeah, my son's sitting
That's
right.
what Jack
My
wants to
son's
hear.
sitting
Jackson
right over
wants to hear
here,
that, yeah.
right over here in the green room, and he's waiting there. But okay, so let's say you got a kid, right? Just out of school, got a job, that whole deal. What's the first thing that you're going to tell them to do so that they can have wealth later on? What's the first thing?
Open up a Roth IRA.
So a Roth IRA is the way to go. Why?
Because there's an income limit for when you have to stop. I think if you're single, you get phased out like around. I mean, you can Google this up. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think it's like 129. If you make over 129,000, you can't contribute to a Roth. And then if you're married, I think it's like total like 180. My numbers may be totally off. That's not the type of clientele that we're getting. But there's a reason why they cut it off because it's tax free. So you put the money into the Roth, it grows tax deferred. You never have to pay taxes on it. That's why they cap it at an income level. That's why you don't see, or I don't see clients with millions of dollars in Roth IRAs
Right.
because.
But that doesn't mean they don't have those accounts.
No, but they're never going to get that big.
Right.
So you just asked me the first thing.
That's good. 'Cause
Open
do
up
it
a
when
Roth.
You can, right? Take
because
advantage of it while you can.
Tax-free money.
Yeah.
Tax-free. So let's say that, you're 22 when you graduate college and you don't get married till you're 32. And for the
Good move. Or
Yes.
42 or 52.
Or 42.
Don't
Okay.
don't push people into doing something they don't want to do.
No, I'm on my second marriage to my lovely wife Stacy, who I have to give a shout out, and all my
that's
my lovely kids.
You know what I
have.
say to all people that got married 2 times?
Yeah.
Dumbass. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, just to let you, so thank you for that endorsement. But I've known Stacy since I was 7 years old. So we were each other's first dates in 3rd grade. So I think I know what I was doing with the second.
3rd grade. Holy shit.
That's right. That's right.
Wow. You know Mark, didn't I know you in 3rd grade?
No.
Oh, good. Okay, good. I don't want to end up like that. Okay, so that's the first thing you're going to do. Okay,
Yes.
so besides a Roth IRA, again, you're starting off.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something I told my daughter, right? Because she got a gig, to whatever their investment, whatever their the company would match to put into the company. What am I thinking? of?
So you're thinking of a
401k.
401k. Now there are Roth 401ks that you can get into if your company is offering it, but forget 401k for a second. A Roth account is something that you can open up at a bank. You can open up anywhere. Okay, it's just an account. It's the tax code. You can buy Visa in a Roth IRA, an IRA, a SEP IRA, a simple IRA. You can buy that stock in any account. The way it's taxed is the difference. So going back to my analogy, so if you have 10 years before you make over that threshold, you have 10 years of maxing out. I think it's like 6,500 right now if you're under 50. Let's say
Contributing each year.
Contributing. Okay. So let's say that they never change. It goes up every couple of years with inflation, but let's say that you put away $65,000 of basis over those 10 years. Okay. Well, it's going to be more than 65 or less because you're going to be putting money in at low points and at high points. It's going to mess around. But you let that money sit for 30 years at like a 6 or 5% rate of return. You're going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And that's called
tax free.
compounded interest.
That's right. The power of compounding interest.
And how old do you have to be till you can touch that money?
59 and a half.
So that's a great thing too.
Correct.
Because that's lower than a lot of other plans, right?
So, all plans, you cannot touch the 59 and a half without penalty.
Penalty,
So
right.
you can-
This is penalty free though.
No, it's not. It's
Oh, it's
still,
not. Okay,
it's still, even though it's tax deferred and tax free, you can't touch that money until 59 and a half without a 10% penalty.
Okay.
Once you get to 59 and a half, then you can pull the money out, no penalty and no tax. If it's in your Roth, an IRA, it is taxable.
So, dude, I love the concept of that because I remember my dad saying, I mean, he told me a couple of things, and I remember, I remember this. Number one, he said, you got to have good credit. He said, that's one of the first things you have to do. If you want to buy something, you have to have good credit. The other thing he said was, don't buy anything you can't afford to pay for.
Absolutely.
Right? And then as he started getting into trading, he was like, you got to start investing money.
Yeah.
You have to start investing money so that in the future, when it comes time to say, hey, man, I don't want to work anymore. And by the way, I'm literally saying I don't want to work anymore.
Well, yeah, and I like what Jack's saying. You put the money in there. You don't touch it. You try and you just, I mean, you can move it around a little bit, right? But the idea is
buy whatever
to
you
just,
want.
Yeah, the idea is just to keep it in there and compounded interest. There's a great golf analogy. You're going to like this.
I like
There's
golf
this finance
because I'm very
guy-
good at it.
You've probably seen it. It was on Instagram. This finance guy gets up and on stage and he's talking. He's at a college. And he says, I'll give you an example. He's like, go golfing with your buddies. And you're not all good golfers, and one guy's a good golfer. So you know what? Let's make this interest. Let's go. Yeah.
I'm the good golfer guy.
Okay.
Yeah, the rest of the guys suck.
You don't shoot par.
Almost. Come on.
Okay.
I mean, compared to you, yeah.
You are a good golfer.
Yes, I am.
But I golf once a month.
What's your handicap?
At this point, I am a 12, but I had a bad year. I ended last year at a 7.5, and that's I'll get back down to a 7.5 for sure.
Yeah, you haven't been playing like that.
I had a torn muscle on my shoulder and 2 in my biceps, so I was kind of getting through that.
So the golf analogy is, the guy says, let's make this interesting. We'll bet 10 cents a hole.
Okay.
The guy's like, 10 cents a hole, that's nothing. He goes, all right, well, so we'll bet 10 cents on the first hole, and we'll double every hole after that. So 10 cents on the first hole. Next hole is 20 cents, 40 cents, 80 cents. We'll go on from there. Mm-hmm. And you do the math, and at the end of the 18 holes, if you lose every hole, the compound part, it's in the thousands.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, when you do that,
Square
it doesn't.
root.
Yeah, but exactly. But when you talk about that in general terms to most people, it's incomprehensible because they say, "Oh yeah, well, that sounds good. Let's do that." And at the end of the round, you're like, "All right, you owe me $8,500." Like, what the hell? No, we were betting for 20 cents, 40 cents. No, 40 cents turned into 80 cents. And
The rule of 72T. So if you get a 7.2% rate of return over 10 years, your money will double. So essentially, it's just math.
Yeah.
So that's 7. So you say 7% rate of return over 10 years on average, you should hopefully double your money. It's not going to be exact.
Okay, so question. I've got a couple of money questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple of weeks ago, we had a guy on in Iceland who runs a penis museum. Okay. And in your expert money opinion, if I start a penis museum here in Chicago, how many weeks will it take me to be a millionaire?
One, how much capital do you have to start? Two, where's
their penises? How much? I mean,
Okay.
I need a building and some dicks.
Well, money. How much? I meant money. How much money you have? Where are you opening this up to, and who is the clientele that you're aiming for? If you have the
people
right,
who love dicks. I don't know. I mean,
well, there's not everyone likes that. So
that's weird to me. I don't get that.
you promised you would not share this business venture with anybody else.
Wait a minute.
We
Come
weren't
on.
gonna talk
listen,
about this.
There's one penis museum in the world.
Yeah, I know what
it's
you're
on an
doing.
island that's in the middle of the ocean in Iceland. I think the world is big enough to have a second penis museum here. Ready? In the middle of America where the whole world. Listen, there's a goddamn Bigfoot museum in Kansas, okay, that people are going to see. How would people not come to see
Are you
my
saying
awesome
America's the
penis
capital
museum?
of dicks?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're doing this show, aren't
All
we?
right. Forget about your idea, man.
I'm just trying to follow up with that one right
No,
there.
this is good because Jack's like, what are we going to talk about? And I did not tell him we were going to talk about a penis museum.
I was not ready. That's the first time anyone has asked me their ROI on their penis venture.
And
So-
ROI, return on investment.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Return on
Yeah.
investment.
No, I mean, people don't. You know what's funny? I got this new job, right? And it is so ridiculously full of acronyms and all these things.
TPS reports.
Yeah. It literally. No, listen to me. There is SUPs and SURs and SURPs and all this stuff. And I first. For the first 3 weeks, I was just like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. And after this, I'm just like, so do you know what an SUPRGGL is? And I'm just like, oh, yeah, the superlative. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm in for that. I just stopped.
no idea
I stopped
what you're
caring.
talking
Yeah, I stopped caring. I just I don't give a shit anymore. All right, so you're saying the penis museum might not be a good idea?
Every idea has merit as long as you have a plan with it. If you write up if you write up something like a summary of what you expect to return on the capital that's given to you and all of that, I think there's a product for everyone.
So
is
you're
my
saying I should have had a plan before I started this show? because I had no plan. The only plan was I thought it'd be fun if Teddy and I could drink together. Now that Ted is, now that the COVID has taken him,
He's no longer with us.
Yeah, he's no longer with us. Now I have no plan.
Yeah. Well, I think having no plan for this is okay because the startup cost probably would not be as much as opening up a penis museum somewhere in Chicago.
Oh, you're the penis museum expert now?
Maybe.
I mean, I really, me and Thordor are really the penis museum experts.
So I have a serious question now. All right.
Oh, that wasn't serious?
No,
That's bullshit. That was serious.
He was really serious.
That was serious as
well. We're nixing it because
serious
we
as a
talked
kick in
about
the
it already
nuts.
before we're ready. It's hot in the news right now. The FTX, the Sam Bankman.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting article about it. They talk about he's in trouble for manipulating the market, right, with Bitcoin.
Apparently, yeah.
Do you get into that at all?
No.
No. Okay.
No,
I didn't think so. So
no.
So you're following the same thing. So he was being called as a next, the guru, right?
Yeah.
And
so rule number one that you learn is that you don't you don't go into things that are not appropriate for your clients. Okay, number one. Number two, and I'll take you back to my American Express Ameriprise days. At some point, I think American Express financial advisors had like 10,000 advisors working for them across the country. Okay?
No way.
Yeah, at some point, pretty high. To do that, you have to take on a massive role in compliance. Okay, everyone knows what compliance is: doing the right thing. I'm a fiduciary, so when we invest clients' money, their interests have to come first. We get
I've seen that
for it,
commercial. I love that commercial.
Not the Fisher thing. But at that time, when you were at American Express, you could only sell like 6 things to a client: a financial plan, insurance, mutual funds, whatnot. It was simple. The reason why it was simple is that's how they can get their arms around 10,000 advisors and monitor them. You work with someone like me, we're pretty open architect, meaning that we can do a lot of, as long as it's on our platform, we can do a lot of things that are not as mom and pop as you might get someplace else. And that attracts wealthier clients, but it also breeds potential like loss or whatnot. So, it's something like what you just mentioned, things like that. I can only speak about what I do. My clients are in the mode of living off of income off of their current investments and not touching their principal as much as possible. So if someone's got $5 million with me and they need to make, $200,000 a year to live off of, you can do the simple math of what we need to make for them. Right. That is our job. Okay. I don't need to make a 55% rate of return every 5 months or something. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is, and I said this earlier, there should be no surprises when our clients sit down with us, meaning that the game plan that we have, the investment portfolio that we made up, the retirement plan that we made up, your income plan that we made up, it's constantly being monitored because when things change, that affects their life. So something goes down, or there's news, or a war that's happening, or inflation, or whatnot. That's constantly tweaking what we set up. Yeah. The plan that we put together, I tell clients all the time, it ain't going to be the plan 6 months from now or 6 years from now. It's going to change. That's why you see us 2 to 4 times a year. That's why we ask you questions every time we see you. That's why if something new has changed in your financial life, we need to know about it. The phenomenon that I'm coming into the past couple of years is just the amount of cash that clients are holding because they can't travel
right. No, you can't. You can't.
We had a client that was trying to go to Europe 3 times and got denied because of COVID. So that money's still in their account. It's just
call Janice. That's what I would say. Call Janice.
Call Janice. Yeah.
So yeah, it's we have to educate the clients so they understand what's going on.
So your client, they're all retired, right?
Majority
of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I've noticed is people that are retired still have jobs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing. You can't. How many times can you play?
Bullshit. I just do it almost every goddamn day.
No, there's a lot of people that are like that. But you know what's cool about what you do is you've got people that have worked their whole lives.
Pretty much.
They put their money away, they invested it, and now they've got a lot of money in the market.
Yeah.
And now it's your job to figure out how much money they need from that investment.
That's what I do.
And so, okay, so say someone's got $5 million.
Yeah.
And they need $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
To pay their expenses and just to live comfortably.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Do they pay? So when you draw money out for them every month,
every quarter.
And it goes into a regular bank account, and they use that as their So it goes right into a savings, and so they're taxed on that.
So it depends where the money's coming from. So let's say that let's say it's a married couple, and we're dealing with a trust account. Him and her have an IRA apiece. And let's say they have 2 Roth IRAs from when they started when they were young.
Okay.
So if I need to pull out $10,000, let's call it $10,000 a month, okay, $120,000 of after-tax money they want to live off a year. Mm-hmm. My job is to pull out, and I could draw it. I've been doing this for years. There are quadrants on a triangle that's tax now, tax later, and tax never. And my job is to pull from those 3 quadrants to get them the blended amount with the least amount of tax liability as possible. So if all their money is in a IRA that they rolled over from a 401k and they need $10,000, I got to take out more than $10,000 because I have to take out money for taxes. So I got to take out $13,000, withhold $3,000 for the federal government, and then give them their $10,000.
So when do you have to pay that?
Well,
the $3,000.
They can either withhold it. That means we'll the
deal with it later.
We'll send it to the government.
Okay.
So to clarify, I don't hold clients' money. So money is held at like institutions like Schwab, Pershing, TD.
I get it.
So we're advisors on that account. So when they need to take out money out of an IRA, we give them the opportunities to either withhold it, or just give them to them of the gross amount, and then they can pay the taxes at the end of the year.
Right.
Typically, we withhold the for and send it to the government.
So listen. Everybody who's not involved, if you're listening to this right now and you are not in the stock market, okay, if you're not investing your money, if you don't have, and it's simple as a Roth IRA, if you don't have those things, you have to start those things. You have to be saving money.
Yeah.
If you've worked for 10 years and you have $600 in your bank account, you have to change what you're doing.
Yes.
I mean, you absolutely.
And you're saying now is the time more than like the last 10 years or so?
All of my
now's
children.
when you take advantage of what your employer has to offer. If they got a 401k, you max out that plan.
You should.
You go on and on. Okay.
So all of my children, Olivia, Charlotte, Reagan, Reese, Henry, when they get jobs, when they're 14, 15, 16 years old, I will make them put some of that money into a Roth IRA. You have to have income to put money into a Roth IRA. They're going to hate me for it, but I never had that. My parents never taught me that. Yeah. Okay, I worked at Schaumburg Golf Course. I worked at Medina. I caddied sometimes. I worked in a bag room. I had a drawer filled of dollar bills and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, been there, done that.
Yeah, my parents, not that they weren't smart, but my parents did not foresee what I would need down the road. As soon as all of them start investing or saving, we're going to open up Roth IRAs for them and put in, let's say my son Henry or my oldest daughter Olivia works at a golf course, or let's say they work at a shoe store, and they make $7,000 in a year. Well, whatever they can max out outside of what they want, we're gonna. You see what my parents did? Oh, put it in a savings account.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what I did. Yeah.
But that's really not doing anything. You're making nothing on your, unless it's Jimmy Carter inflation.
That's why I said banks are for suckers.
Well, it's not. No, it's not for suckers. It teaches
There's
you.
There's a place for banks.
It teaches you to save, but at that same bank, you can open up a Roth IRA. So when I used to bank at, it was like Lincoln, but I think it really was Harris. I would go in as a kid. What my parents should have done was, as opposed to if I put away $500, my parents should have put $300 of that into a savings and $200 into a Roth IRA account.
So this is the most important, and this is incredible. I didn't know that a normal bank, you can, instead of a savings, you can put it in a Roth IRA.
Absolutely.
I don't think anybody knows that.
Oh my God! You walk into
I didn't know. Did
Fifth
you know
Third
that,
Bank
Matt?
or Bank
No,
of America
I did not know that.
any bank you walk in. I shouldn't say any. Most banks will have has the ability for you to open up an IRA account or a Roth IRA.
And when you do that, the money's just going to where they're putting it, right?
right, so
It's a general.
it's a Roth IRA is the same as a savings. It's an account.
Right.
The difference is in a savings account I can't purchase anything. In a Roth IRA I can buy stocks, I can buy bonds.
But you're buying what they might just do America's funds or something like
it
that.
depends if you have an advisor or not. You can buy what I can't speak for a bank,
Right.
but if I walked into a bank right now and I didn't,
I see what you're saying. So somebody else would manage a Roth IRA.
correct.
Okay,
There's an
okay, I got
advisor.
you. Nobody
so,
at the bank would do that.
So like, and you walk there's a Fifth Third Bank off of Oakton, around here. You walk in there, there is a I don't know if you ever know. There's like a financial advisor.
I see that person. They're always sitting there on their phone.
Exactly, because they're talking to people. Because when you work at a bank, and the reason why maybe you don't make as much money as working from a bank as you do like independent is you already have clients. You're just calling off the CD list. Whatever CD is coming due that month, I'm going to call Matt, be like, hey, Matt, you got $25,000 coming due. Why don't you come into the bank and we'll talk to you about some investment options.
25,000. Holy shit! I thought
I'm
it was
sorry,
2,500.
I'm sorry, 2500.
Oh, okay,
Hypothetical,
wow.
man.
Hypothetical.
I
So
thought I hit the lottery.
so yes, so you can go into a bank, pretty much any bank, and you should have the ability to open up some form of an investment account.
So I got to do that with my son. Just turned 18, and he saved a lot of money. We were just putting it in a savings account, and he wants to invest it, but he wanted to do everything on his own. So he's got a significant amount saved over the last few years.
So I will tell you this: for each of the kids, I went to Schwab. Schwab's my thing, and I went in there and I started a custodial account for them when they were I don't know, just born.
Yeah.
And I threw about $4,000 or $5,000 in. When they turned 21 and they got to get it, I mean, it was over $30,000. I mean, they each at the age of 21 walked away with, and I remember my daughter, she probably like 21 and 5 days, and she had the money in her pocket. She went to Schwab, she got the money, and then she goes, can I buy a car with this? I said, sweetheart, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do with it. I don't care.
your money.
Yeah. I said, you buy $21,000 worth of shoes, go ahead. It's your money. I said, but that's all your money.
Right.
Yeah. All the rest of it is mine. And that's the thing. I turned a few $4,000 or $5,000 into $30,000, and then that's theirs, right? And I'm just like, that's cool. It was something I had. It was $300 a year. It was $500 a year. It was this. It was buying a couple of stocks here and there, and they end up with that dough. And I was perfectly fine with it, because I'm not going to say that my wife said, "Are you sure you want to give them that money?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Listen, if we did the right thing, they're going to do their thing with it." I mean, I said, if they want to blow it, let them blow it. I really don't care at this point. We've done what we're supposed to do.
And that is a great teaching moment. If they did spend all the money, they
They
realize,
would be dead. They would be dead. Yeah. I wouldn't be talking. I'd be talking about. Remember my daughter? Remember her? Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
it's
gone.
there are there are teaching moments that happen on things that don't go the right way sometimes, and yeah, I mean, I really wish my parents would have taught me to save, not just to save, but to save in the right areas.
Right.
There's also, my parents didn't teach me how to save. Not at all. Not in the traditional sense. Yeah, put some money in the bank and that's it.
Right.
What my mom did teach me was not to get into debt.
Yeah,
I mean, that was
Yeah,
the
that
biggest
was-
thing. So when I turned 18, she co-signed for a credit card with me, and I had a $1,500 limit. But she said, "Listen, we're going to do this, but you never." And I was working like 2 jobs. She's like, "You never put on this card what you can't readily pay off at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So at the end of the month, you know that you spent this much on your card, and you have to pay that off." And I did. And I'm 49. I've never had a balance on a credit card.
Never in my life.
I started that when I was younger, and we've lived that model. And my wife's the same way. It's paid off. You don't buy what you can't. You don't spend what you don't have.
And
you
I'll
don't
tell
buy
you
something
this.
you can't afford.
Here, I'll tell you this. I have friends who have racked up
I
massive
know,
amounts of
too.
credit
I've
card
seen
debt
it. Yeah, right.
and have gone through bankruptcy and all that kind of stuff. And right back to the same thing. And it's weird to me because I think to that thing that my dad said.
it
Number
starts
one,
when you're
good
young,
credit. and don't buy shit you can't afford. I mean, it seems so basic to me that it would never ever happen. Yeah. And if I wanted better stuff, I got a better job.
Well, what you just said is 100% true, but that's kind of what happened in 07, 08, and 09. Is that, I mean, guys, I had maybe 8 months of, income from work in 2004, and I got pre-approved for a mortgage that I couldn't afford, and I knew I couldn't afford it, but I was in finance. That's what happened in 07, 08, and 09.
And they're willing to give it to you.
Right, because the bank said, well, you can do this. Yeah. The average American thought, well, if the bank is loaning me $450,000, well, then I can buy this home. And guess what happened? You couldn't.
Right.
And that's why everything, came down. That's why everything dropped. If they would have taken exactly what you just said about just a credit to begin with, it's the same thing with buying a house. It's debt. That's why this world has more debt than equity. Okay. So when a bank is willing to loan that out to a customer, you got to do your own due diligence on your end and be like, well, listen, the bank is doing this because they're making money on it. It's not that they love you or care about you. It's a business. Okay?
They don't give a shit about you at all.
They're right. They're loaning you money. They're charging you interest on it for, your natural life. Step back and say, can I afford this? A lot of people did not in the mid to late 2000s, and that's what happened.
Well, what's even worse is they, in a 2 years later, they gave them another $150,000 because they reassessed their house values, and they gave them home. So HELOCs were huge. So you
double down.
Yeah. Well, you give somebody $150,000, and they just spent it on whatever the fuck they wanted to.
Guys, my brother is an attorney. He had massive amount of law school debt. Bought a house in Las Vegas, Nevada, 2002, I want to say, for like $205,000 roughly. I believe sold it in mid-2004, almost 2005, and doubled. Paid off all of his law school loans right there. That's not supposed to happen. Your house should not double in value in less than 3 years.
That's I'll tell you right now. So when my wife and we bought our first house, right, they gave us a loan. That when the guy was done, he's like, "Oh, you can have this much." I looked at her. And I was like, "This is fucking ridiculous. Yeah. There's no way."
What year was that?
Oh man, I want to say in the early 90s.
99? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, early 90s. Okay.
Yeah, late 90s, right?
Yeah.
So he says, "Oh, you guys can afford a $300,000 house," and I'm like, "If we don't eat." ever have any fun? Don't buy furniture.
They're just trying to close the loan. They don't care.
Right. And this was
Take
my
the
mom.
money. Fuck you. I don't want it, man. You're fighting with somebody.
My mom was in real estate, right? She was working in real estate, Century 21, right? And she had her friend, doing this, and he approved us for this loan, and I'm just like, this is fucking ridiculous. Yeah. I'm like, we don't make shit. I go, we cannot get that deep into debt. So we bought a house, right? Bought a $110,000 house. Or $120,000 house, stayed in it for like 6 years and sold it for like $300,000. And now this is right before everything happened, right? This is 2007. We end up buying the place we're in right now. Okay, dumb luck. I was on the market for like $800,000, and it didn't sell for like 3 years. The people were insane. So the price went way down. We bought it. And then everything happened, and the value went down, and she flipped out, right? She's like, "Oh, it doesn't." I said, "No, don't worry about it now." And I said, "The house isn't a thing that we invested in. It's a place to live, right? That's it. It's a place to live. It's not an investment. If I want an investment, I'll do what Teddy and I did, and we're buying, places to rent out in Arizona.
Yeah, something different.
Yeah. Not the place you live is just the place you live."
And whatever money you get out of it when you do eventually sell,
I will be happier than a pig in shit.
Right.
That was the big problem, right? People looked at their home as a moneymaker and not a place to live.
Because that's what was happening.
Not so much. Where I would argue with you, not so much a money maker. That's all they had. Most people prior to us, our ages, lived in homes for 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Whatever they got out of it, yes, that could be a bulk of their nest egg or whatnot.
Yeah, my parents bought their house for $14,000.
There you go.
And it sold for $290,000.
There you go.
$300,000.
Yeah.
I mean,
they didn't buy that thinking, well, we're going to turn a profit on this in 30, 40 years.
Oh, hell no.
No, that's where they lived in, and by being good Samaritans and paying their mortgage and not destroying the value of their home.
Yeah.
Well, everything is going to appreciate over a period of time, but at the same time, they probably didn't have speculative properties that they were taking equity out of their current home to revert that into 2 lots in Tacoma, Arizona.
Mortgage rates were like 20% back then.
Well,
too. I mean,
we were talking prior to this of
14,
like
18%.
how many people do what I do, or people that I started with. Same thing with like mortgage brokers. There were a lot of mortgage brokers driving Porsches around in the mid 2000s. They were closing loans left and right, and then
what
fell
the
off
difference
the cliff.
between you and them was? Back then, prior to 2008, nobody had to be licensed if you didn't work for a bank.
Yeah.
So an independent mortgage broker can hire loan officers with no licensing, nothing, no training, zero.
Listen, you want to have some fun. Well, I can't think of the documentary that they did about the loan, the mortgage. It was a book that they wrote about the mortgage
I know,
collapse.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
If you ever get a chance and you really want to learn about that, the book, and they made a little movie about it.
Yeah, with Brad Pitt and all those guys in it.
The Big Short?
The Big
that's
Short.
what it is. Yeah, The Big Short. Yeah.
The book, listen, the movie's great. I love Steve Carell. I love Brad Pitt. But read the book. Take some time, over a couple of months, because it was what stuff I was reading. I was just like, wait, what? And I have to go on the internet and be like, whoa, holy shit, right? But check that out. If you want to know about how to fuck up your life, right? Let somebody else tell you what you can do, and not follow through and say, can I really do this?
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't trust. I mean, honestly, I love my guy that I have, and I really do. I love my guy from Schwab. He is fucking fantastic. I do all stuff. But do I trust him 100%? Fuck no, man. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust Mark.
Who, me?
No, the other Mark. Yeah, no, it's real. Okay, so Jack, I'm going to test you right now. Okay, I'm going to do some money testing right now. Are you ready?
I hope so.
Okay, so you're a financial guy. You know wealth, right? What's the worst month of the year for the stock market?
Well, they say sell in May and go away. But
Don't. Dude, it's almost like listening to Ted right
Got a
now.
one
Bullshit.
in-
Now I'm
you
gonna
got a
say
1 in 11
September.
chance.
September is the worst month of the year. Since 1950, the Dow has declined 1.1%, and the S&P 500, which, by the way, if you never invest in anything, I'm going to give you advice. Put your money in the S&P 500. You will be very, very happy. Declines in the month of March. Okay, are you ready? What is the most volatile month of the stock market? And this is historically, I'm going to say, last like 80 years. Most volatile month.
Well, I'm going to guess it's a summer month, because the volume is thinner in the summer than it is in the fall. July? I don't know.
October.
Oh, October.
October is the most volatile month.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I want you to use your money skills.
And that's the most popular month for weddings, too.
October?
Yep.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, my God.
Pretty sure it is, yeah.
Do you know what I have to put up with at work? So my new job is I'm the only guy. I'm literally the only guy who works at the entire place, as far as I can tell. The only guy. This is what I have to put up with. I have a fiance. We're getting married. Oh my God, I can't. Oh, fiance. Am I saying fiance too much? Oh man, it's like a.
I already tuned you out about 5
Yeah,
seconds.
thank you. That's exactly what I do. That's exactly
You
what
were
I do.
annoying, Matt. Oh, you were Okay. never
When is Ted coming
You were
back?
role playing.
Wait, listen? If Ted makes it through his COVID, and he can come back,
Ted has COVID?
or he was pregnant. Yeah, either one of those
you
two.
didn't get the last text.
Allegedly.
Oh no.
It's not COVID.
Oh no. Ted got the herpes.
Ted got the HIV.
Ted got the HIV. Okay,
have
here we
any
go.
wipes around
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. Okay. So here we go, Jack.
Okay.
Yeah, Jack, you're sitting in Ted's seat.
Yeah.
That's great.
Step up to Ted's mic.
In your money advice, here we go. So London, this is what I didn't know this. London is not a very big stock market, okay? So the number one stock market in the world is America.
Mm-hmm.
The number two stock market is Shanghai,
I was about to say. Yeah.
right? Okay, so both of
That
those
market's called the...
Well, there's different markets. There's the Nikkei 225.
The Nikkei, yeah,
right,
the Nikkei,
there's
yeah.
there's just like the Nasdaq.
The
here.
Nikkei is like the most popular, right?
The Nikkei 225, I believe, is their broad market. So.
Yeah. Okay. So number one, America. Number two, Shanghai. Number three is London. Okay. So the London Stock Exchange. Now, with everything that's going on with their prime minister, their high cost of living, their crappy stock exchange, in your financial opinion, should America invade London right now? Should
Invade.
we
I
invade?
thought you were going to say invest, the I word.
Oh, fuck that, man.
he's in-
Listen. Colonialism.
So now you're a general, Jack.
No, he's not General Jack. I'm just saying, money-wise, should we take over that place and move in there?
Do you want to? I mean, have you been to London?
I have not. I just want
Bloody hell, man.
I've played Risk a lot, and I feel like that's a pretty good spot to start from. Because
Risk is good.
I played a lot of Stratego as a kid.
I love Stratego. Oh my god,
I
forgot
love
about that
Stratego.
game.
oh my god.
Always gotta hide. You gotta like hide where your bombs are, where the flag is, and maybe put different numbers to like throw them off. On what
We
you're
are so
doing.
dorky.
Yeah,
Listen.
I play a lot of Stratego.
Yeah, for every kid that's online right now and he's like shooting someone, and it's like, hey, listen, I watch my son play in the basement here. I watch my son play these video games, and I ask him, this is the funniest thing. You know, I walk downstairs, I'm all drunk, right? He's playing. I go, oh, that's awesome. What movie is that? And he looks at me, he goes, that's a video game, you fucking drunk.
That's happened to me before.
Yeah,
So it's hard to see out of one eye.
Wow,
So
right.
it's
And I'm thinking,
switching.
I played a board game with Stratego where I had a king thing, and then I had some bomb things, and we were excited when you touched the bomb, and you got to go, you're blowed up.
And then you're throwing it around.
Yeah.
So going back to your well thought out question, we kicked them out in the late 1700s. They did invade us in 1812.
Right. We owe them.
They backdoored us in 1812.
They kind of.
I got backdoored a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
That's why I'm bringing this up.
I would say that you might want to sit this one out. I don't think it's time to cross the pond as of yet to do that. So.
All right. You know what? I mean, you are a man who is controlling millions of dollars. I mean, so since I have thousands.
Yeah.
And by the way, not just like 4. I have like 8 to 12 thousands of dollars.
I don't control anything. I advise. The one beautiful thing about our business is that clients can come and go anytime they want. So I don't have any control over their money. If they're unhappy, they can move and go to another
Matt,
firm.
you're a fucking liar, Matt.
Well, hold on. Okay.
You sent us
I
a
am.
10 to 9 email, and you
Yes.
said Jack controls the markets.
Yeah.
You
That's
said-
why I asked him if we should invade.
Well,
That's
not-
what I'm saying.
I mean,
You were
you're
gonna
really
take-
saying this live? I mean, there's something like you.
I'm teasing.
Yeah, I know that. No, but go on, Senator. Your next question.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Sure.
here's the weird thing. So I have to get some of this stuff out because it's freaking me out.
Yeah.
The stock market is 400 years old. Is that bizarre?
No, it's there's been commerce for well over 1,000 years. So that seems in its.
Wait, the stock market as we know it is that old?
So it's funny you bring that
in
up.
its sense.
We were looking through it's called the market mosaic. We do it every month, just to analyze the overall economy. And one of the things that came up was the bond market that hasn't happened since the 1700s. So we were talking about that, and I didn't realize it was that old, but I knew it was old. But I mean, you look at medieval times. So people had to finance the land for the serfs. Like it was all it's all.
I thought it all started with Monopoly, the game.
Wow.
Wait, that's a great game too.
Monopoly.
Yeah, I love that game.
Jack-
Nobody plays it by the rules.
Jack
man.
Mark might be 100 here. Yeah, I'm almost sure of that. Okay, so
I got a $500.
So
bill.
people are freaking out because the market is down, right? But there have been, I mean, in the 400 years, there have been tons of ups and downs, right?
Yep.
So when people freak out, I mean, when people come to you and they're just like, "Oh my God,
the sky is
how
falling.
do you, how do you get them to not chicken little, right?"
I just show them the power of compounding interest. I show them math. It's a good question because we're in that time right now, but people may not know this. The S&P 500, I believe, hit an all-time high on January 4th of this year, an all-time high. The lowest we got intra this year, I think I think the S&P was down maybe 27% at the low point. And at the end,
But that was down from the highest point.
but that's the point I'm trying to make.
And this is awesome. He's literally looking at his phone. So when he's like talking money, he can go like this. Some guy be like, "Yeah, this and that."
Oh, I do this all the time.
Jack can look at his phone and go, "Yeah, you're full of shit."
Yeah.
Don't listen to this guy.
So it's down 16 and like 0.5%. I was actually talking about this with one of our financial analysts yesterday, I think the market's been pretty resilient. You have a war that's happening right now. Okay.
Democrats and Republicans?
No, I'm talking about how Poland got shelled today by accident.
Yeah.
So you have a war that's going on.
Wait, they shelled themselves?
Oh,
that's a Polish joke. No, hold on. We talked about this. There's no more Polish jokes. So, yeah.
Whoa.
Sorry, Mark. Your people did not accidentally bomb themselves. Yes, they did. Go ahead.
We don't know yet, but what we do know is that it has happened. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's no fucking way that it was an accident.
Yeah.
No, of course not. Nobody accidentally.
But you know what's great about it? I think before
Russia's missiles are probably from the 1980s. So
before it even happened, Russia was already saying it didn't happen.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, they were. It was that fast. They were like, wait a minute.
To tie this back in, I think the market has
Yes,
been
bomb
pretty.
England.
I think I never said that.
He's in.
I never said that. I think that everything that's happened this year with inflation, with with the war, with what the Fed is doing with interest rates, for the market to only be down 16.5% from an all-time high on January 4th shows you the resiliency of the market and/or the money that the Fed has interjected into the economy over the past couple of years. To Matt's question at the beginning, put more money in. I mean, you're at a discount right now,
Right.
So none of our clients have gotten destroyed in the market because we made choices last year to de-risk.
Because you're good.
Last year we de-risked,
You're good,
and we did that. Thank you very much. So the cash that we've been holding on to,
He's very modest.
the cash that we've been holding on to, this is the right time to potentially get back in. Potentially, I still think there's going to be more medicine for us to take because you're going to have another interest rate hike on December 14th. You're going to have rate hikes next year. Now, the Fed may be a little more dovish than hawkish because of the CPI numbers the Consumer Price Index numbers came out, and it was a lot better, which is why the market rallied.
Hold on.
Ago.
Let me just translate for everybody who kind of not into blah, 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 blah.
But
I'm not trying to. But when you say that kind of stuff, you got to be. I think for most people, you have to be a little bit more general. So
there is a metric that looks at inflation in many, many, many different areas of the economy. A report came out recently that showed that inflation has dipped from the previous month, which is why you saw stocks rally the past couple of days. Okay. Yeah. I don't think that means that we're in a complete upturn back. We are going to have more interest rate hikes for the next 12 months potentially, and this is just my opinion. So that what that means to me is that we're not out of the woods. I don't think the market is shooting back up. You're only going to make 40%. To your question at the beginning,
damn it.
But the Fed's is stabilizing things.
Well, the Fed. So there's two paths. There's the path of inflation. There's the path of a recession. The Fed, in my opinion, is purposely inducing us into a recession because here's the soft underbelly of this country. Most American households cannot go 2 months without a paycheck. They have nothing in savings. I think the average household income in this country is like $65,000.
That is absolutely true, and that is the most depressing thing I have ever heard.
It's accurate. We would. I don't know if you guys remember this. Remember in late 2018 when the government shut down, and there was this big thing to get it back on track after the holidays because people couldn't pay their bills. Like I'm not saying we're a paper tiger, but there's more wealth on a smaller amount of people than it is on the masses. And a lot of American households cannot keep up with that. So you have two choices. You're going to have massive inflation, but your income's not going to go up. You can't support a family. You can't. Forget gas because there's been a hike on that with what's going on. Just look at food. Just look at goods, staples, whatever it is. So the government cannot allow us to turn into a third world country overnight, okay? So what they're doing is, though, they're going to induce us into potentially a recession, which is going to cool demand. Mm-hmm. So in a recession, your groceries don't cost more.
Yeah.
But you may be out of a job.
Right.
Maybe. The Fed is looking to potentially move...
or you're not going to spend this much...
I don't love my job, so I really don't care. I'm good with that.
But that's okay for you. But unemployment's at 3.5% right now. They want to go up. They want to induce unemployment to bring down demand.
I'm in.
Okay, they want to get the
Matt would like to
4.5%.
contribute right now.
Yes,
On the air.
I want no employment.
The problem is that the Fed is raising interest rates to the point where you don't see the results for potentially 6 to 9 months down the road. So what we talked about in our investment team meeting, yesterday, is that the Fed may have to cool down a little bit because they may overcook that chicken. It might be too late when they find out.
I hate rubbery chicken.
Plus, you're a vegetarian.
Yes, I know. I don't really eat. But I did have turkey. We had our Fakesgiving on Sunday with my family, with my sister's family. My sister's been on the show many times. My brother-in-law too, and we had our fake Thanksgiving because they're going to be in Miami. So I did eat turkey.
Was that the podcast about learning about the clitoris that I saw?
Oh, dude.
No, that wasn't Jackie.
Oh,
that
no, that
Elizabeth.
was not my sister. No.
I saw that coming out. I'm like, interesting. I wonder what I'm going to do.
No. Okay, so listen, that is, I love.
I'm sorry if
talking
these
about
answers are like all over the place. I don't know if I'm.
No. Listen, listen. There is no real answer, right? Because if there was a way for somebody to be rich, you wouldn't be sitting here. You'd be on your island, right? You'd be Zooming us, and you'd be laughing at us. So, I mean, that's the reality.
I am laughing in the inside.
Don't worry. Most of our guests are laughing at us anyway. Okay. All right. So we gotta put the nail in the coffin on this one. All right. So Mark, I never make the guest go first with our last thoughts. Okay. Normally I make Ted go first, but Ted is now fighting for his life. Yeah. Listen, I guarantee you, Ted. There's no difference in Ted's life with COVID or not COVID. He's still in his basement. He's completely drunk. He's probably so fucking high he doesn't even know. I'm going to text him later. I'm like, "You have COVID?" And he goes, "You have COVID?" I go, "No, Ted, you have COVID." And he's like, "No, man."
Is his name really Ted?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. His name's
sounds
really
fake.
Ted. I'm disappointed that you can't meet him. All right,
Invite me back.
Yeah. Oh man.
So
I will.
my last thought is I'm gonna leave it topical. I'm just gonna say, I don't want to say spend less than you save, but save more than you would like to, especially when you're younger. Right? Does that make sense? I don't know. I mean, I just think save something, right? That's what I'm going to leave it on that.
You should always save.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should always save. So, yeah.
All right, Jack, your last word. It's yours.
My last word.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
On the show.
So
Because you're not getting out of this
listened.
basement. That's your that's the whole thing. Right?
Famous last word. What is your last
Jack's just
word?
like, fuck, I knew it was happening. I knew it.
Yeah, Jack, tell everybody. Listen, just go ahead
Please
and
hand me your phone.
Yeah.
Put the
show the
lotion in the
terror.
basket.
Yes. It puts the lotion in. Yeah. But yeah, your last word. What do you want to leave everybody with?
Oh God. I normally have no problem speaking, but I'm kind of
It's
stumped
the
on
gas
this one.
coming out of the ceiling.
Got
Right
it.
above
Got
your-
it. Last word.
He's going to knock you out.
How about this? Don't believe everything that you hear. Read, educate yourself, and when it comes to your money, make the best decision for you at that time, and don't be afraid to change the plan when something comes awry.
I like it.
Oh man, you know what?
Especially like the part about don't believe everything you hear.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, look into it yourself a little bit.
The-
At least, yeah.
The not to go on a little history lesson here, but if you read about our founding fathers, maybe not having the mob be able to vote was something that they thought about way back when information was not readable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now everyone votes and everyone has information within 10 seconds, on their phone. Misinformation is everywhere.
Yeah.
Do your homework, research, ask good questions, and you should be fine.
Oh, that is awesome. Okay, so number one, I want to thank you for being on the show,
Thank you.
this
Thank
is
you.
something. This is something that I feel like people don't talk about money in a real way, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't mean to blah 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 you, but
No.
when it gets technical,
Yeah.
I think people tend to think like I'm not smart enough to do this, and you absolutely are.
Yeah.
And the other part is you're smart enough to find people that can help you. And I think, like I said, that's scary to me because, people come to you and I told you, I got a guy and I know my guy is probably 100% on level, but growing up in Chicago and knowing what I know and seeing things, I'm apprehensive to believe everything that I hear, right? So when somebody tells me that, it's the greatest thing in the world, all of a sudden I think, how is
when
that?
Someone tells you it's the greatest thing in the world, that's when I would run for the hills.
Right. Listen, trust me. When they say the words, listen, trust me, would I lie to you?
Except when it's pertaining to this show. This is the greatest show in the world.
Oh no, we are factually so incorrect.
Yeah,
It's insane. Here's the first thing I would think of. Everything we say, do the opposite. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so if I could leave this, and again, I go back to what my dad said. Number one, have good credit, and number two, stop buying shit you can't afford, man. If tomorrow you couldn't pay that off, don't fucking do it, man.
Just because it's on sale, you don't have to buy it.
Right. Just
layaway,
because.
remember that?
Oh, I remember layaway.
I did that.
Marshalls.
Shit. I put shit on layaway.
Yeah. I thought layaway had something to do with sex. I had no idea, man.
It can.
Yeah. I just figured I could bang my way through all this stuff. Yeah, I ended up with no couches, no TVs.
Like there, THER and TH, the other air.
Yeah,
It's just the same thing.
All right. So listen, guys. So bottom line is, be smart with your money. Listen, get a hold of Jack. Whether you got $5 million, okay, or $5,000, whatever it is, get a hold of him. Okay, talk to somebody. If you don't talk to Jack, talk to somebody. Make a plan. Have an idea of what you're going to do with your money, and it will literally pay off. I've said this a million times. I would have taken better care of myself if I thought I would have lived past 20, then 30, then 50. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Okay, and now I'm stuck. So thank God I got at least a little bit of dough, so that very soon I can quit the shitty job that I don't know what I'm doing and I don't love, and I'll be happy about it.
Only person working there too, right?
Oh, no.
Only male.
No, I'm sure. The only guy. I'm the only guy working there. Yeah, no. I'm sure everybody else works harder than me because, listen, I was offered, it's like, hey, would you like to do this? And I was like, no, I really don't. And they're like, oh, you should be a team player. And I'm like, yeah, I'm team me. I'm team Matt.
Hey, I got to congratulate myself. I've been looking at the Lowenbrow sign the whole entire time, and I have not once mentioned the Flamingo Kid, which has been on the top of my mind the whole entire time reading that sign.
Phil.
That's right.
Oh, man. Me and my old man used to watch. Oh, man. We used to play gin all the time. I love that.
Not Matt Damon.
No.
Matt
Dillon.
Matt Dillon.
Yes.
Oh, that was such a great movie. Okay.
Great movie.
Yeah. So here, we'll leave you at that. Watch the movie The Flamingo Kid.
Yep.
And enjoy this show. And we will see you guys next week.
Thank
Have
you.
fun.
Thanks, Jack.